Impact segment tonight, the secular progressives are furious that Mitt Romney said this.
But in recent years, the notion of the separation of church and state has been taken by some well beyond its original meaning. They seek to remove from the public domain any acknowledgement of God. Religion is seen as merely a private affair with no place in public life. It's as if they're intent on establishing a new religion in America, the religion of secularism. They are wrong. The founders proscribed the establishment of a state religion, but they did not countenance the elimination of religion from the public square. We are a nation under God, and in God we do indeed trust.
Now, the Washington Post said, quote, "We only wish Romney's empathy for religious minorities such as his own extended a bit further to those who do not believe in God." The Oregonian opined Romney missed a larger opportunity to reach out to Americans who aren't affiliated with any denomination. And the radical left Seattle Post-Intelligencer printed this. Romney sounded like Bill O'Reilly giving a defensive Christmas tantrum on Fox. Religious freedom includes the right to have no religious faith. Now, since Governor Romney's speech was a personal exhibition telling voters what he believes and why he believes it, why would he mention atheists? Joining us now from Washington to analyze, Lipman Brown, director of the Secular Coalition for America. All right, Ms. Brown, you know,
hi, Bill.
I was just taken aback because this just epitomizes what I've written in Culture Warrior, what I've been saying for years, that like the gay marriage, very similar to gay marriage, where homosexuals want parity with heterosexual in the marital area, atheists want parity with people of faith. And if you don't give it to them in every speech, they're going to come after you. Am I wrong?
This was a campaign speech for someone who supposedly wants to represent the entire nation. And for him to ignore over 30 million Americans by saying Americans believe we're under a God, what am I, chopped liver? I mean, he's supposed to be running to represent all Americans.
Should he have said most Americans believe that? How should he have phrased it?
That would have been more accurate. To pretend that we're not patriotic. I mean, he also talks about civil rights movement and abolition and compassionate care as if only religious people participate in that.
You can take that implication, but look, he said we are a nation under God. Okay, we are a nation under God.
Well, I disagree with that.
I know you do.
The founders would disagree with making a statement like that because it wasn't just about not having a state.
All right, but in the Declaration of Independence, obviously, God is
well, the Declaration of Independence, Bill, as you know, doesn't control how our country is run. That's dealt with by the Constitution,
but if you are going to make a statement like we are a nation under God, like Governor Romney
like they did in 1954 when they put it right
he can go back to the
Declaration
Declaration of Independence, and he can say with accuracy that the Founding Fathers separated from England because of God, because God gives people inalienable rights to freedom. And it's written in the Declaration of Independence. So you can make an intellectual argument that what Governor Romney said is perfectly accurate in the context of our history. Now, what I want to know is, what I want to know from you is why...
ruled by the Declaration of Independence.
Okay, we're not ruled by anything. We're not ruled by anything.
There was a huge fight over not putting God in the Constitution. And the people who said, no, God doesn't have any place in the Constitution. This is a secular nation. They won that fight.
Okay, so Romney's not allowed to say that he believes in Jesus? He's not allowed to say that?
No, he can say that. Sure, he can say that.
Okay, so what's the beef?
The beef is, in a campaign speech, to try to be the President of the United States, he pretends that a minority group shouldn't be called Americans. He says Americans believe our religious liberty, our liberty comes from God.
You took that. You extrapolated that. He didn't say atheists shouldn't be called Americans. I don't think he would ever say that.
He said Americans believe our liberty is a gift from God. What am I, chopped liver?
Right.
I'm an American.
So he should have said most Americans believe that, and then you would have been okay with it.
That would have been much more accurate.
All right. So I know the governor's watching, and next time he probably... And I don't have any problem with putting most Americans believe in there, because I do respect atheists. I respect your right to not believe, and I think that's one of the strengths of our country. But the whining, the incessant whining
but why,
about inclusion,
if someone wants to represent all of us, why would he point out that this is what most Americans believe, and therefore we can ignore the rest. For example, saying that we should say under God in the pledge.
His fundamental philosophy.
We all say that at school. I mean, it's not just people who really believe it. You're saying this should be in government, which doesn't comport with either the Constitution or the Bill of Rights.
Presidential candidates are Americans, and they have a right to believe what they want to believe. And if they believe that this country was founded by men who thought that our rights were given by God, then they are damn well entitled to that belief, and they can say that, and if it tees you off, too bad.
Well, yeah, he can believe anything he wants about our history, but the fact is that we have a secular nation. The people who fought for a secular nation won, and that's the Constitution we have.
Well, he didn't violate the Constitution. He actually exercises free speech by defining who he is and why he thinks the way he thinks. It's about whining. This is about whining, Ms. Brown. If he threw you a bone and said atheists are good too, then you would have been happy, right?
If it were the other way around, where you lived in a nation where most people didn't believe in God, you know you'd be upset if they said, well, this is just how it is.
You don't know me. I wouldn't have been upset at all.
I think Mitt Romney would be upset if it were the other way around.
I think that the whining about this just, I don't know. But anyway, Ms. Brown, we appreciate you coming on, and your point of view is well spoken. Thank you very much.